Putin News Now. The Georgian Dream Party systematically brings the country under Russian control. Russian troops invaded Georgia on August 8, 2008, killing 180 people and seizing control of 20% of the country's internationally recognized territory. The Russian invasion sparked Europe's first major conflict of the new millennium. Russia violated the six-point ceasefire agreement by blocking EUMM monitors from entering occupied South Ossetia and Abkhazia. Since then, tens of thousands of Georgians in Abkhazia and South Ossetia have been displaced and persecuted under the rule of Russia and its proxies. Georgian media made the unexpected revelation that Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov's family, including his daughter Ekaterina Lavrova-Vinokurova, is in eastern Georgia for a wedding. For starters, the Georgian territories that fell under Russian rule are still fresh in people's minds, as are memories of the Russian invasion. Second, Lavrova-Vinokurova, who was born in the United States and received her education in the United States but is loyal to the Kremlin, has been blacklisted in both her home country and Australia. She is widely regarded as a member of Vladimir Putin's inner circle. The United States and the European Union have not yet blacklisted her. Third, there is official support from the government of Georgia for ties to the European Union. Did the Georgian authorities overlook Lavrova's vacation there? Did the government's indifference demonstrate its subservience to Moscow? Or is it a provocation aimed at Georgia and the European Union, whose citizens long for a more democratic and prosperous future? Is Georgia's behavior a sign that it is under Russia's sway? Slowly but surely, the country is becoming subservient to the Kremlin. The Georgian Dream Party, currently in power, has been steadily submitting the country to Russian influence. The government of Irakli Garibashvili, which took office after the citizen protests of 2019 and the elections of 2020, did nothing to stop the rising violence against women and LGBT people, and it illegally surveilled opposition personalities and journalists. The UN Human Rights Committee demanded that the government conduct an investigation into human rights violations, bring those responsible to justice, combat violence against women, and protect those who have been subjected to discrimination due to their sexual orientation or gender identity. Using judicial manipulation, the Tbilisi government meted out harsh punishments to political opponents, including politicians and journalists. Former President Mikhail Saakashvili was found guilty and sentenced to 6 years in prison. While in detention, he became poisoned by heavy metals, which had a devastating effect on his health. However, Saakashvili was not given the care he needed by the authorities. Another example of how the Georgian Dream Party is establishing an authoritarian regime is the situation with politician and media personality Nika Gavaremia, director of Mtvari Arkai TV, a TV channel critical of the government. Gavaremia was given a 3.5-year prison sentence for abuse of power in May of 2022. Gavaremia has been locked up in solitary confinement in cell 212 ever since. The global far right is embraced by the Georgian dream. Georgian Prime Minister Irakli Garibashvili's decision to attend the Conservative Political Action Conference, CPAC, in Hungary was criticized by the Party of European Socialists, PES, on May 4, 2023. Viktor Orban, Hungary's authoritarian prime minister, is hosting CPAC this year. Party of Austria, FP, Lega, Italy, Vox, Spain, Chega, Portugal, and EKRE, Estonia, are all part of CPAC, which functions as a kind of international for the far right and ultra-conservatives. The Georgian Dream is an observer in the PES at the moment. The presidency will be discussing its current status at their June meeting. Garibashvili, on the other hand, promoted his attendance at the Conservative Forum and hailed Orban as Europe's true defender. PES responded quickly. Prime Minister Garibashvili's actions are totally against the principles of our political family and cannot be tolerated. At its upcoming presidency meeting, the PES has already decided to assess the current standing of the Georgian Dream within the party. According to PES Vice President Kadi Piri, this is obviously a necessary step following the intervention by Garibashvili today. Mtavari TV reported on May 19 that Garibashvili does not plan on aligning with the European Union. It will take years for us to become EU members and abide by EU policy, Garibashvili said. The European Union needs to take action. Tbilisi's government actively works to prevent Georgia from joining the European Union. Imprisoning political opponents and independent journalists is an attack on democratic rights, the judiciary, and the media that requires a strong response from the EU. We must always stand with those who fight for democracy and freedom in the country, using all legal means to urge the government to uphold human rights and free all prisoners whose sentences were unfair. After Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the country's brave resistance, many believed that pro-Russian regimes in the region would eventually fall in line with Putin's.